My name is Shaleen Title. I'm a Malden resident and I'm a commissioner with the Cannabis Control Commission, which is the independent agency that is tasked with implementing the state's cannabis law. So we've come a really far way. I was one of the original authors of Question 4, which passed in November 2016. And at that time, we were following the footsteps of Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, those first states. And we really had the chance to build on what those states had done and try to improve it. But then the legislature this past summer passed an additional law modifying Question 4. And that, in my opinion, went even further and made the program better. So they created the 5-member commission that I'm on. And unlike other states where it's often under the Department of Revenue or the Liquor Authority or Department of Health, we're an independent agency. And so we're currently in the process of implementing draft regulations. So those were issued last month. And now January, early February, we're taking feedback from the public and we'll be issuing the final regulations in March with hopefully sales to anyone over 21 beginning this summer.
Now, what is the law of the land regarding personal use? For instance, how much can I possess right now?
So with certain exceptions related to things like driving or being in public, anyone over 21 may now consume marijuana legally, grow a limited amount at home, and possess a limited amount.
And what's the limited amount again?
At home up to 10 ounces, otherwise up to 1 ounce.
Are there any roadblocks for cannabis? For instance, will it ever ease its way into workplace events such as wine or other forms of alcohol?
That's an interesting question. I do think we've kind of just scratched the surface. There's so little research available now on cannabis. And there's also a stigma having to do with the prohibition of the last several decades. So I don't see that as being part of my job as a regulator, but I do think that as time goes on and the stigma lessens and we have more research, that we'll see the role of cannabis perhaps being different in our society.
This is a matter that I care deeply about, which is one of equity. How has the state of Massachusetts addressed racial disparities since legalizing cannabis?
So this has been my primary focus in the past 4 months as the commissioner, and I'm so proud of the steps that we've taken as a state. The legislature basically had a mandate in several different ways that people from disproportionately impacted communities have to be part of this. They have to have an opportunity to be part of this newly lucrative regulated industry. And so in implementing that, we've been focused on first identifying those communities based on arrest rates, location data, economic data, and secondly, how do we help provide a fair opportunity to people from those communities? So far, we've been very focused on community outreach and technical assistance with the application and reducing barriers to entry. So the fees are very low to start a cannabis business. The technical assistance will be based on helping people to understand this very complex process of being compliant with the regulations, because of course it still is a new substance and we will be regulating it. We will be having a business license application process that's quite thorough. So we want to help people navigate that, and we want to help them have a fair chance at operating their business. So in our draft regulations, you'll see a equity program for people from those communities, as well as a priority review program where people who have people who can demonstrate that economic empowerment in those communities has been a priority for them in the past, they'll get a head start on their application. That's how it's set up in our draft regulations. I will say, because we're the first state to do this, it's very much expected that, there will be tweaks that need to be made. It's not going to go perfectly. That's part of the process. So we want to hear feedback from people now, and we want to hear feedback as the program starts. We are also having a citizens review committee to give us ongoing feedback as to how the program should be tweaked to be the most effective. But in general, I really think Massachusetts is going to be a national role model on this aspect.
Given that I work there and you reside there, how has legalization affected the city of Malden?
So, as the commissioner, I can't, get involved in any way as to what municipalities are doing, right? They have to have the freedom to, make whatever laws they want. But I will say, as a Malden resident, I'm very excited to explore that question. Malden is such a unique place. We have a very changing community and population. I'm really proud to live there. And I think the citizens have been quite vocal about this over the past year. So I'll be exploring that more. Councilor DeMaria just asked me to serve in my private citizen capacity on a committee to discuss this more. So I'm really looking forward to that.
And finally, any last words for the cannabis user here in the state of Massachusetts?
I would just say that this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get involved in creating an industry from scratch, and that we do take public comment very seriously, and we're really transparent in how we discuss and implement that feedback. So I would encourage people to look at the regulations and to come and talk to us about what they want to see the Massachusetts marijuana program looking like.
Thank you very much. And with Neighborhood View, I'm Guillermo Hamlin.